Hi, Teri here from Stamping Magic. Welcome back to my channel. Today's project is another gift bag. This measures 8 inches wide, 8 inches tall and 3 inches deep. I've used the Prized Peony stamp set together with the Good Morning Magnolia stamp set for the sentiment. And these beautiful papers are from the Peony Garden Designer Series paper pack. And this is another fold flat gift bag. So you can make lots of them in advance and just pull them out when you need them. This isn't the first 8-inch fold flat gift bag that I've shown you. I've also shown you this one in the past. Now, if you're interested in seeing how to create it, I'll leave a link at the top right of the screen under the eye. Now, this is an open bag, so it's a little bit simpler to create, but this one used almost 2 whole sheets of 12-inch by 12-inch paper. The new one will only use 2 pieces that are 8 inches square, so you've got lots left over to make several cards if you want. The method used to create this new bag is not the same. This new bag is more deconstructed, so the sides and base are separate, whereas this one, they were all in, well, 2 pieces. Now the paper one will fold much flatter than the one with cardstock in it, but they can still be flattened and stored together. So let's get started. These are all the measurements you need for all the elements required to create this project. So if you're interested in reproducing it, take a screenshot so you can refer to it later. I have 2 8-inch squares pieces of the Peony Garden Designer Series paper here. One's for the front, one's for the back. Now the back needs to be scored, and it needs to be scored at the bottom of the piece. So mine has a pattern orientation on it, so I'm making sure that the bottom is pointing towards the left side. Then I'm scoring at 1.5 inches. I have 3 grey granite mats here. 2 are the same size and they're for the sides, and the slightly smaller one is for the base. Now I'm going to score them all with the short side across the top at 1/2 inch and 3.5 inches. And that's all the scoring you need to do for the base, so I'm going to put that one aside. For the remaining side pieces, I'm going to place them into the Simply scoreboard with the long side across the top, and I'm going to score down at 1/2 inch and 2 inches. Then, with the short side across the top and the 2 horizontal scores towards me, I'm going to score down at 2 inches, but only as far as that first score line. I have a grey granite mat and a Whisper White mat here. Now these were cut using the Celebration Labels dies. The largest die was used to create the grey granite mat, and the next size down the Whisper White. The Whisper White mat will be cut in half later on. You only need to use half of it. The grey granite mat needs to be scored down the centre. Now I've already marked a groove on my Simply scoreboard with a permanent marker, so I'm going to line up the centre points with that marked groove and then score. I now need to do a little additional scoring at the bottom of each side section. Now the scoring will be within this rectangular box, and I'm going to score from the centre point down to each of the bottom corners. And that's not the bottom corners of the whole side section, that's just within that rectangle. So I'm going to do this using my stylus and a metal ruler, and you need to do it on both pieces. there's just a little cutting to be done on both the side pieces and the base. Now on the side pieces, if you look at the bottom corners, you can see you've got a little square. That will need to be removed. And when I do that, I'm also going to notch either end of all the remaining 1/2 inch tabs. And when I say notch, that's just a little slanted cut to remove a slither of the card on the edge. Okay, so I'm going to notch that bottom corner and at the same time remove the corner piece and repeat for the other side. So that bottom tab is notched and the bottom of the side tabs are notched. I'm just going to finish off this piece by notching the top. Now I'm going to repeat that for the other side section. Then I'll notch the corners on the base. I can then fold on all the score lines and burnish them with my bone folder. The centre line down the side sections is going to be a valley fold. Now I'm going to work from the top down and I'm going to burnish down to the point of that triangle that you scored. Then I'm going to pull the triangle towards me and then I can burnish it. Oh, and don't forget that bottom tab. And then repeat for the second side section. So I'm doing the outside tabs first of all, and then that middle score line is going to be a valley fold. I'm going to crease it gently just to the point of that triangle and then burnish it down to the top of that triangle and then pull the triangle towards me and flatten it out, and then I can burnish it. I'm now going to punch the holes needed for the ribbon handle. I'm going to use the smallest hole punch on my crocodile, and this will punch the holes approximately 1 inch in from the edge, and I'm trying to get the hole to straddle that score line. I'm now going to cut the Whisper White die cut in half long ways. I like to use my guillotine for this because you get a nice clean cut. Then I'm going to emboss this using the Tasteful Textile 3D embossing folder. And this is how it looks once it's been done. The Whisper White mat can then be added to half of the grey granite mat. Try and centre it as much as possible. And this will now become the front. I'll be using some of our scalloped linen ribbon in Rococo Rose for the handle. And I'm just going to thread this through each of the holes. You can adjust it as required, making sure that your handle is the length that you want it to be. And then when you're happy, if you have the front towards you and open it out, we're going to add the glue to the back. I'm going to use tear and tape adhesive, and I'm going to add 3 strips underneath that ribbon on both sides. Then I've removed the backing and I'm just going to press the ribbon down onto the tape before cutting off any excess. Then I'm going to add 3 more strips of tear and tape over the top. This ensures that the ribbon will not pull out and it will be secure. I'm going to mark the inside of the back panel to help me place the closure piece. So I'm just using a pencil to mark 1 inch in from each side edge. I can then remove the backing from the tape and cover that half of the panel with wet adhesive. I'm going over the tape so it allows me to move this piece a little if necessary. And then I'm going to place the back panel on top of it, so that's right side down, centering it between those 2 marks, and then I can erase the marks. And this is how it should look on the back. I'll now add the back panel to my base, and I'm just going to apply glue to the 1/2 inch strip and then place my back panel on top of it. And then I can add glue to the other 1/2 inch strip and place my front panel. Make sure you get your panel up the right way if it's got a pattern orientation. You can use tape adhesive to put your bag together, but I prefer wet glue. Now sometimes you get a little seepage, so I'm going over my joins with my embossing buddy to remove any stickiness. I'm now going to join my side sections. So I'm just adding glue to that bottom tab, and then I'll place the base on top of it. I'll do that for the other side, and then I can add glue to the 1/2 inch tabs on the side section and join my front and back panels to them. To get the bag to fold flat, just bring the front and back together and walk your fingers down towards the base. When they reach the score line on the bag will naturally fold back. Then give it a burnish with your bone folder. I'm using 2 1/2 inch Velcro dots for my closure, and I'm positioning them along the front edge but towards the sides. I've placed both parts onto the closure section, and then I'm going to carefully close my bag and give them a good press down. Now the first time you open it, you want to be very careful because the paper can sometimes tear, but open them and then give them another press. This is the Prized Peony stamp set, and I'm just using this one image today. For my sentiment, I'm using the Hello from the Good Morning Magnolia set. I'll be stamping on some scrap pieces of normal weight Whisper White card, and I'm using grey granite ink. Now I need 2 of the flower images and just one sentiment. I'll be using one of the peony dies to cut out my flowers. Now my sentiment will be die cut using one of the Stitch Shapes circle dies, and this is the smallest one. And I've also created a scallop circle in Rococo Rose to go underneath it using one of the layering circle dies, and this is the second size up. Once the flowers have been die cut, you want to carefully cut off the leaves. Those aren't needed. So I'm just leaving a very narrow border of white around the flower. Then I can layer my sentiment pieces together and add a few dimensionals to the back. I'm going to position the sentiment at the centre of this closure front, and I'm just pressing it down lightly because I want to ease the flowers underneath. And then I can add glue to both the flowers and just slide them into position. And once I'm happy with the placement, I can just give it a good press down. And then just as a final finishing touch, I'm going to add one of our basic rhinestones to the bottom of the sentiment. And that's it. That's my bag complete. I think it looks really pretty. And it folds flat nicely. Of course, I had to make a coordinating card to go with my bag. Now this uses exactly the same products that I used to make my bag. You can write your message on the panel on the reverse. Now if you're interested in seeing how this style of card was created, I'll leave a link at the top right of the screen to a video showing you how. I love the Rococo Rose Pink together with its grey granite. I think they go really well together. The green I used was Granny Apple Green. Now I have made another set. This was the first set I made. And for this one I used the Good Morning Magnolia stamp set together with paper from the Magnolia Lane Designer Series paper pack, which is now sadly retired. But I had so much left I thought I'd use some up. And this is the card I've created to go with it. It's a very pretty style of card and so easy to create. So have a look at the video when you have time and you can see how it's done. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. Bye for now.